on with our panel focused on gold and cryptocurrency and how this world will be changing in the realm of gold and precious metals now that we have cryptocurrencies. I am Vays. Hopefully most of you seen my presentation earlier explaining why Bitcoin is important and potentially even more interesting than gold going forward. And we have a great panel here who are have a pretty good background in gold as well as cryptocurrency. So I'm going to go ahead and let everyone quickly introduce themselves. We'll start with
Dennis. I'm Dennis. Most people know me as the Bitcoin informant. I do a German YouTube show 5 times a week and started in January 2017 and basically talk about the news. And I've been investing in crypto since 2016. Been investing in gold and in precious metals as well.
My name is Joshua Shigala. I've been in crypto for a long time in the alternative economy space for even longer, and we run a Bitcoin physical gold exchange. It's the only one in the world for order book where people trade between Bitcoin and physical allocated bullion and back again, and have a price discovery system once we get big enough for that's not based on filthy fiat.
Hi, my name is Reinhard, Bochem. I'm the owning representative of a refinery, a gold refinery in Hamburg, Germany. And I'm actually a newbie, I think, in this whole space. I've only been involved with the crypto community maybe a year and a half now. But a year and a half ago, I found out that actually the whole blockchain technology is something that I should have had 10 years ago when I planned a gold-based product. I still haven't rolled out and still haven't fully developed, but I want to keep you all curious for the next year, and I think we'll be there to say something more about it.
My name is Reinhard. I'm in the crypto space since May 2011. I've written a number of books, I make films, and I show the films later.
Alright, so this is great because we have a huge diversity here. We have a bit of a historian because you're able to write books. We have just a user, and then we have 2 people actually having companies involving in gold and getting into crypto. So let's go with a little bit of history. Can you talk about, I guess, your personal / professional relationship with gold and crypto? So basically, when did you realize you needed to buy gold and save gold, and then how did your mentality change when crypto came along? What is your current allocation, personal allocation right now between precious metals and cryptocurrencies, and where are you taking that going forward? So, let's start from that end this time. So, Aaron, go first. So, when did you first get into precious metals, and how did that transition into crypto, and how do you see it going forward from your personal perspective?
Yeah, I got a little story there. I was in like libertarian circles and also before I discovered Bitcoin. I think it was most people the other way around. And already before I discovered Bitcoin, I was actually thinking, why don't we do something like digital gold? Yeah, I was still researching gold. I was interested. I had some talks with technicians, but I didn't really follow. And when I first discovered Bitcoin, I was very skeptical. Shouldn't this covered by gold? Yeah, isn't this also some kind of fiat money? And I missed the opportunity to invest in Bitcoin minus $2 because I was just too skeptical. And it took me a while to understand that Bitcoin has the same properties and qualities as gold. And that was the aha moment. And then I started to totally focus on Bitcoin. And I definitely like gold for sure, but it also has its downside, right? I mean, it will not grow in value as much as Bitcoin. It is somewhat confiscatable. Very nice new word in your language. So, but I think they both have their pros and cons, and I think they work well together. I don't think it's an either-or discussion. So probably this will be a boring panel. I don't think we will fight a lot. I think they complement each other really well.
Well, I naturally and my family have always been more invested in gold than in anything else. My father even always said that it'd be better to have a little bit more gold in the company than any assets that the banker offered to sell. And so for me, the crypto space grew really interested when I found out that Bitcoin was originally destined to be named Bitgold. So I tried to find out how it actually made its have from,
It was a predecessor. It was a predecessor.
Yes.
Just before it didn't even take off.
yeah, but that was the original idea, apparently, or in my opinion at least, is what I grabbed, that someone tried to invent something, a digital gold that was immutable and that was inconfiscatable somehow. And that's when my interest rose and where I started to look deeper into it. And today, I buy Bitcoin like every other week, some, no matter what the price is, and I recommend to everybody to buy gold on a regular basis, buy Bitcoin on a regular basis in small amounts. But of course, I will never tell anybody to not buy gold, because of course it's got some properties that, in my opinion, are way even heavier, and you can feel that as well if you have it in your hands, than digital money.
I was also very obsessed in alternative economies, having started the world's first swap site where people just swapped things, and realized soon after that you need a token, but then that token has problems. This was back in 2001, before there was cryptos, that you don't want to become a central bank because you have all these problems. And also libertarian and liked the concepts of anarcho-capitalism and philosophies of freedom. And then when September 11th happened, I really wanted to start following the money. I was like, it doesn't really make sense that much. So following the money and understanding how the monetary system really works globally, and how fiat is this debt-based instrument, and how gold fits into the picture. And then 3,000 years of gold, and everything just started making sense more to say, hey, you can't just print more gold. So, especially after 9/11, not knowing what the Americans would do, not knowing how China would react, all these questions, I was thinking, man, I'm just going to put some money in silver and gold. And so I started doing that. And then when Satoshi's white paper came across my table, I thought, wow, this is really, really interesting, because you have now this digital gold. But I've always seen it that in nature, you always have redundancies. We all have two arms, we have two eyes, two kidneys, two of things. And that's because if one breaks, you've got the other one. And I think gold is this really great hedge against any sort of black swan event in the crypto space. Yes, maybe we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. And it's decentralized in its issuance. There's no one single miner. It's mined all over the world. Gold has value in different countries independently of each other. Before the internet, before you only had big sailing ships, they also found that independently these countries, or these big citizens of these places in different geographical regions, cherish this stuff. So it has this deep history in human civilization and the human experience. And so I don't think that's going to go away just simply with crypto. And that's how, I don't know, I guess I went above and beyond my question. Yeah.
Before I start, I want to ask a few questions. Who in the audience owns gold? Okay. Who owns cryptocurrencies? Okay, good. So, more hands crypto, alright. So, basically, I got interested in gold, I think after the financial crisis, so when I asked myself, what asset can I buy which is going to be there in 50 years, or for my kids in the future? I didn't have kids back then, but I was thinking about it. And if you look at the history, even of a stable country like Germany, like we had hyperinflation, we had the change of money, and if you look at how fiat works, when you get into the whole thing, you basically, for me, I realized that the whole government thing is a scam. Like fiat is a scam, right? The pensions is a scam, and they're going to devalue the money, and I wanted something which gives me security, as you said, as a hedge for the future. And that's how I got into crypto, into gold, and started buying precious metals like gold, silver, a little bit of platinum and stuff. The thing is that I just have a little bit of physical stuff at home, but the majority I buy basically from companies, and they have it in vaults or whatever, so you have to trust them, right? And then I discovered Bitcoin in 2016, and it really spoke to me because crypto all in or nothing, right? And it just gives me the security that I am in control. And that's something which gold doesn't give me. It's nice to have gold. A little portion of my portfolio is still in gold, but if I look at the future, and the future is young people, I'm pretty sure that the majority will rather invest in digital stuff. We're living in a digital age. Everything is going digital. That they will rather invest in something digital like cryptocurrencies than in gold.
You said you got in 2017, all in, I mean, a little bit, 2016, but that jump, right, would have been great, and now, after 2017, we've seen a massive decline. We on Moderator, on the exchange, saw a massive influx of people hedging out during that massive hype cycle, because nothing keeps doubling for very long. And so these people were very clever because they weren't too greedy, or maybe they were super greedy and they were just clever because they took that profit and put it into gold. I don't buy this whole thing of Bitcoin is like the only, of course, in the future maybe it will stabilize, and I think it will. Once it reaches a market cap, maybe it will. But right now, it's still in this price discovery phase. And so to say all or nothing, I think, is dangerous for some people. If you can afford to lose a lot through a massive price decline, that's fine. But a lot of people don't.
Right. You want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, all in, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone to go all in. I mean, I just like risk, you know. It's for me, if the cryptocurrencies don't work out, that's it, you know. But
yeah, no, it's a good transition into risk, and you also said cryptocurrencies plural. So I mentioned this in my presentation, and I would like to get your thoughts here on the panel. By the way, I also own physical gold, I own physical silver. I was buying that stuff before I discovered Bitcoin. Since discovering Bitcoin, I've never bought any gold ounces or silver ounces. And then after reading Seyfriedin's book, which Aaron was kind enough to show, you have it right there, there it is. So this book completely changed my mind on silver. Now, I had the same view of altcoins to Bitcoin, but now, to me, silver all of a sudden became the shitcoin of precious metals, thanks to reading Seyfriedin's book, and I will explain the premise, and I would like to get your panel's thoughts on that. The view is this, as Seyfriedin explained. Silver had been the micropayment to gold for thousands of years. Back in the Roman time, back in 500 years ago, a gram of gold was too expensive. You couldn't buy bread, you couldn't buy your coffee with if they had coffee with gold. So you needed silver. So silver was almost more money for the common people because it was cheaper. In the 20th century, with the advent of electricity and computers, and now you have paper-backed gold, or today we can have digital-backed gold, digital tokens backed by gold if the government ever chose to go back there. And there is no need for a micropayment, of which is silver. So to me, that makes perfect sense, as silver will simply become an industrial metal like copper with zero monetary premium. And this is also how I view altcoins, as opposed to Bitcoin. It's just useless inflation on top of Bitcoin that is less secure, less useful, because if Lightning succeeds, and I expect it to succeed, we will have full micropayments. What is the panel's view on that? I guess we'll start with, go ahead, Reinhard.
Yeah, thank you. Well, what I really would like to address is the price issue with regard to precious metals and assets in general. Of course, mainly precious metals for this panel. If you imagine that the gold price is always going up based on worries of buyers, and it always goes down based on special interest or on manipulation measurements, then you apply that the gold price and the silver price have moved parallelly over years, although they don't have anything in common, basically. The gold price, of course, was the fixing of a monetary instrument, and the silver price miraculously fall at all. It's because although it's an industrial metal that is actually used and that is not fully recycled. You know, when you know that, imagine that, or see that silver is used in hospitals, for example, it's used in medical devices, it's used even in sheets, because it's antibacterial, whatever, and it's thrown away afterwards, and it's not recycled, because the recycling procedure is too expensive to draw out all the silver, and on top of that, silver is much more scarce than gold. So, if we...
Is that really true then?
Yeah, that is true. And so you have a strange imbalance here between the real need of assets, of raw metals, of raw matters in general, and the public prices that move around hypothetically upon the market price, but I kind of estimate that there's other forces behind the real price building. Like, we know that Coinbase or any other big exchange owns millions of coins, or at least a lot of coins, and people have given away their right to host their own coins by registering an account with them. So they can basically use coins as well to move prices. And it's kind of the same system that works in precious metals and in coins. And I see this parallelity over the year now that I've been following it closely. And I think we have to disconnect the issue of scarcity and price building and really look at the assets and their value for humanity and for the public in real close detail.
I agree, and I disagree with you. I totally agree, even before I read the book by Vays, that I don't really see the need for this slogan that Litecoin is the silver to Bitcoin like gold. I never bought that. I never saw the real advantage of Litecoin.
But the logo is silver,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a good story, but it doesn't work. And now, I even have the economic implications saying, okay, there's even not a real need for silver anymore. And I don't agree that all kinds of shitcoins, that. I think it's good that we have a competition. If the result, and if there is some coin that's really proves to be superior to Bitcoin, great, yeah. I also think that Bitcoin has a huge advantage. I'm also very optimistic on Lightning Network and Schnorr. It's very probable that Bitcoin will win the competition. But if there weren't other altcoins, there were no competition, and there was no need to improve Bitcoin. So I think it's totally fine that there is a competition. Sure, most of them will not survive, yeah, and they have to be superior. And gold is definitely, silver grows, gold doesn't, yeah. So if we find it in another coin that's better than Bitcoin, fine with me. I'm not a maximalist, but in a certain degree, I agree. Bitcoin is all we need.
Yeah, I mean, silver, the antibacterial effects are really, really interesting in silver, and there's a lot of use cases for that in hospitals, in paint, and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of bacterial problems in hospitals. But I think, it also loses things like photography. All of a sudden now we don't need silver in the processing of film, because we don't use film anymore. So that use case also drops out. But at the end of the day, people still, a lot of people ask me, why gold? Because we've got Bitcoin now. And I would say, a lot of people believe in gold. So even if it's not that useful, it's this vast history, this vast network effect. Everyone's grandpas whispering to me, just put a little bit in gold, trust me. And this effect, we can't discount that effect, whether it's true or not, that it's better or worse or whatever, is the fact that people still believe it and want to have that in their demand. And that demand is there for silver too. And, the collector's item and stuff. But I do agree that the monetary value of silver has definitely declined. The only thing that might bring it back is some sort of catastrophic global event that forces people back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, I mean, as long as people are diverse, I think there's always going to be a use case for silver. I mean, people are just going to buy what they want. If someone just values silver more, and you can talk about the intrinsic value of gold or intrinsic value of silver. What's the intrinsic value? Does it really have an intrinsic value? Basically, for me, it's just the value we give
such a thing as intrinsic value.
Exactly. So it's just because people agreed upon that this thing is valuable, and so if people agree that silver or some other precious metal is valuable, that's the way it's going to be. So there's always going to be different things and use cases for all of them. That's why I also believe that many smaller coins will survive because there are communities around them which will use them, which value these coins. And sure, there's a security issue, but I mean, one thing I really want to talk about is gold as an asset class for countries. I mean, a great example was Venezuela, right? Their gold was in the Bank of England, I believe, right? And Maduro wanted to get his gold back, and they said, "Oh, we can't ship it because of insurance issues." Right? I mean, that's a big problem with gold. With Bitcoin, that wouldn't happen. I mean, if the country is smart, they will buy Bitcoin, and they will be able to sell it and do whatever they want. And I believe that it's just a matter of time that we will see countries and banks investing into Bitcoin as an asset class, because gold, and if you don't have the gold in your bank, you don't control it.
Yeah, the problem is with that thesis, and it's only a problem that can be solved, but it's very, very, very hard, as well on the enterprise level, to secure Bitcoin. You have to have multi-signature as kind of the best attack vector. But if you're a government or a corrupt government, and you have a vast amount of Bitcoin, all of a sudden it's gone. Oh, well, I don't know, we had a hacker for the country's whole supply of Bitcoin. You can't go into a vault and just steal massive amounts of gold. It's literally just too heavy.
Can you go into a vault?
No, I don't think that would be a problem if Venezuela's gold was in Venezuela.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
What's a problem for Venezuela when that gold is in the UK or the US? But if that gold is in Venezuela, it can also be magically gone overnight.
I think that Venezuela's gold was actually just sold by Goldman Sachs because they had to deliver it to New York for some reason, right? So Venezuela doesn't have any gold anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, what does it mean that it says it's Maduro's gold? And this was the question. Is it your gold or is it the people's gold? And are you a legitimate state to give it back to, because we got the gold before you were in power? And so yeah, there's a lot of interesting legal.
Right. I got two more questions, and then maybe we can still have some time for audience questions. And but I will just comment real quick. For everyone says, well, maybe there can be a better Bitcoin. That's why like most old coins or some old coins won't survive, but some might. My view on it is similar to gold. I mean, we probably would have, if the cryptocurrency world was to play out in the precious metals world for 5,000 years, we have heard is, well, perhaps some other metal could have better gold qualities than gold, and it's been a failure for 5,000 years, and it's still gold. That's kind of how I see the crypto space. While it's theoretically possible to have something better than Bitcoin, in reality, I don't expect there to be one, but that's just, again, my opinion. My other question is, do you think, and this will lead to the next question, do you think the world will go back to the gold standard when this, I think we all agree that the fiat experiment is probably going to come to a horrible end, and the US dollar will probably lose its status as a world reserve currency, and what happens after that. Do you think it's possible that the government economists will ever suggest to go back to a gold standard? Short answer on this one because it leads to the next question.
One thing to the gold, this method doesn't work, because gold is by nature like that, and nobody can invent a better gold, but you can invent a better gold.
No, well, my view is Bitcoin is also by nature. Yes.
Bitcoin was discovered and invented.
Bitcoin wasn't invented by Bitcoin wasn't invented by a person standing on a podium telling people to that it's better. It was just code that grew in the wild.
I mean, there was a period where aluminium was far more precious than gold, and kings and queens ate with aluminium spoons, and the people underneath them had the gold ones. Now every Chinese $2 dish has an aluminium thing. So there are periods where this happens, but gold, like I said, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years of continual success as a store of value, with really not much you know, we've gotten better at mining, but as we've gotten better at mining, you need to go deeper.
So the question is if the government's going to go back to the gold standard?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at who's buying gold, look at Russia, look at China, I mean, they are increasing their gold holdings, I mean, every year. I mean, they're buying it, really buying it up, but because I think they want to disconnect from the dollar, which is going to happen, which I think the dollar is going to lose its reserve currency status, and maybe some countries will want to go back to gold. I do hope that people will choose to invest in Bitcoin and choose Bitcoin instead, because that gives the power back to them, not to the country again. And I hope that the trust doesn't go back to the governments, and that the people are woke enough, awake enough, I don't know what's the word, educated enough to see that they are in control with cryptocurrencies, that they control their own fate with it. And I don't know if the governments will let them do it. That's another question for debate. But I hope that enough people, once the mass is big enough, that enough people agree on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, that we're going to use it, whatever the government says.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Bitcoin, what Bitcoin really disrupted was the fact that governments can have a monopoly on the issuance of money. Now they have to compete against, it's not even private, it's its own entity. This blockchain is just this algorithm going by itself without, and paying humans to secure it for it. But I think gold will allow people to privately have their own reserves in the back end against something, against either volatility or some black swan event. So
unless governments confiscate it, right? Like in
well, definitely. That's always a threat. That's why you have to choose good jurisdictions that have a historical neutrality, like Switzerland.
Yeah, but they've closed a lot of jurisdictions as well for fiat money. I mean, for tax evasion in whatever jurisdiction, you'll be very unsuccessful to store your money. In countries that used to be successful in this or had a great product for this. Actually, the central banks don't have to get back to the gold standard. They're right deeply into a gold standard. There's the Bank for International Settlement in Basel, and there's no access for journalists unless you get a company. And central banks actually exchange their values in gold. They've been doing this over the years. They've been doing this during the wars. You know, I even have a little coin in my pocket that comes from a sunken cruiser in World War II that carried a couple of 100 kilograms of gold from Stalin to London. You know, so the English wanted to deliver some weapons to Stalin to fight Hitler. You know, all this circle business there going on, and Stalin was required to pay in gold, and the cruiser was sunk by a German submarine. Then a ship, like what do you call it, like a scientific ship, sent divers down, and they recovered gold, and they made little coins from one of the bars, and I get one of these little coins in my pocket, which is an interesting plot on there for me. So there's no, they don't have to go back to the gold standard. They're right in the middle of it, and it'd be very interesting to see how much gold all those central banks actually have in their bowls. You know, all first, the United States, do they have 8,000 tons in their Fort Knox? Nobody counts it, nobody knows it, but even the congressional councils have a right to look at it and to audit it. So where are we? I mean, they're all on the gold standard, and that's why they don't want us to be on our own gold standard.
They use gold, but the gold standard means that the paper money of the government is just a receipt and is redeemable for gold. That's the gold standard.
Yeah.
That will never happen again because it will be totally against the government's interest. But it doesn't matter. We don't need the governments to go back to the gold standards. We just don't need the governments. Yeah? We need a different system without these central powers, without central banks, without anybody who can rob our money or rob our gold. That's the question, not what the governments want to do. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
What about the audience?
There's also game theoretical problems with the gold standard, because if the government backs one of its paper shit notes to some gold, what happens is that becomes one-to-one always, without any sort of speculative upswing. It's always $1. And so miners or people trying to find new gold don't have any incentive because there's no upswing that they could get from the price going. And we saw that in the 1930s play out, and it had a little bit to do with the collapse as well.
All right, how much time we have left? 5 minutes or so? Okay, so I guess we can take a couple of audience questions. I mean, the other question I had for the panel was the concept of crypto backed by gold and if that's feasible. But let's see if there's any questions from the audience. Go ahead, Mike.
So hi. Normally I would tend more to gold as a reserve for value, but the big problem I didn't find a solution for, you stressed a little bit, or you stressed in your thing is, isn't that like the first thing the government will take from us, like along with real estate, and how could you protect yourself from it, other than just storing it in your backyard where it's then probably paid by thieves or anything?
Well, and it's the same question that I didn't get a chance to ask, which is, those that are coming up with crypto backed by gold, isn't that gold at risk of confiscation, therefore the value of your gold denominated asset goes to zero?
Well, maybe I'm not in a bad position to answer that question. We have clients that ask us for precious metals that can be hidden. And not only bars with an official stamp, but as well plates that you can maybe put it behind your bathroom tiles, or that you can hide in your bathtub before closing it, and stuff like that. So we have invented a product that I brought to you as well, and I only have it here in silver and in gold further down. It's a nail. You know, you can put a fine gold nail into a pre-drilled hole. Yeah, put it in, spray it in back, and hang your picture over it. You know, nobody's ever going to look at that picture and try to find your nail. You know, we have all sorts of stupid ideas that mainly lead to the common goal of hiding value before people that try to take away from you that you have earned, you know, with your hard work and your inspirations in life. And what happened in India, what you reported earlier was horrendous. You know, they took away a lot of money from the people. But when the people came to the banks to exchange their large notes into smaller notes, because the large notes were going to be forbidden the next day, you know, the banks didn't have any smaller notes anymore because all the rich people had already exchanged their large notes into smaller notes. So who got fucked again? The same people. Yeah. So yes, we can hide with precious metals because even the fifth generation from now after mine, will be able to exchange the nail in the wall.
Yeah, but they have to know that the nail has gold in it. And this is one of the problems that us crypto people have. Like, if I get hit by a bus, not a single member of my family knows what a private key is. So, it's the same problem. People have to know that there's gold nails all over your house.
My sons are going to search for the pictures.
And if too many people know, you're back to the same problem.
Yeah.
So, but you clearly state to hold it in your own place and don't give it in some bag.
Find
Of course, you can become creative, but you know, there's different ways of course, delegating as well the responsibility. Something that Andreas Antonopoulos always says. You know, you have to take the responsibility of delegating. If you delegate it away, then you have a risk. You know, exchanges can be hacked, banks can be closed, and there's no need to run because they close the doors. So if you take your own responsibility and hide your own wealth in places that you own, of course they can be taken away, but it's the easiest way to take away is just to confiscate your accounts.
Actually,
Josh, last thoughts, and then we have to...
So if you try to insure gold that's you secure at home, it is orders of magnitude more expensive. Why? Because most of the time it's stolen. Data leaks, and people talk, and insurance companies, if they know anything, if they're good at one thing, it's statistical analysis and likelihood of something happening. If you secure it in a high security top tier voting facility that's fully insured and fully audited, insurance is almost nothing because the insurance companies know that won't be stolen. You know, Ocean's 11, apart from those guys. But the thing is that what we're trying to do at Moderator is open up multiple jurisdictions around the world. gold. So if there are whisperings that Switzerland is starting to become more authoritarian and will want to shut down or confiscate gold, people will trade that gold back for Bitcoin. And there will be a buyer on their side saying, these people are idiots, it's never going to happen. There's always two sides of these trades. So the price of gold might go down, but there'll be people buying it up, and you'll be able to then buy that gold in another jurisdiction that isn't under this authoritarian rule. So crypto allows this really quick transfer of that value, which is different to even 10, 20 years ago when you couldn't do that. You had to really sell that gold for them euros and then move those euros slowly. The bank would know about it, probably freeze your account, and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, I think there's two sides of the story. Holding gold at home, while yes, you should maybe have a little bit, it depends on the use case. If you think the end of the world's coming and you're going to have to fight zombies and trade, well actually even in that case, whiskey is probably a better idea, because you can trade tiny amounts of whiskey and everyone wants to get drunk when zombies are at the door.
Alright, thank you so much guys.